Hello everyone and welcome to the Cherry Heart podcast. I'm Sandra and this is episode 109 of my podcast where I talk about crochet, knitting, sewing and other crafty bits and bobs. You'll be able to find the show notes for this podcast on my website, which is cherryheart.co.uk. That's where I'll list the information about everything I talk about, names of yarn, pattern names, anything else that I mention really. I generally keep track of there, so if you forget anything I've talked about or want to know the name of anything, just pop along to the show notes to find it. You'll also find this video has video chapters. You can hover over the little progress bar below and you'll find little segments, and they're also listed under timestamps in the information drop down box below the video, and then you can just click to whichever part of the video interests you most, or if you'd want to watch a bit again you can click back and find your place quite easily. What else do I need to tell you? Oh, Instagram. I'm on Instagram as Sandra Cherry HRT, so you can keep up with some behind the scenes and what I'm doing day to day or week to week lately, rather than daily. But anyway, you can keep track of other bits and bobs that I've got going on when I'm not podcasting. And I'm elsewhere. You can find me around the web as Cherry Heart. I think that's it. So how are you? How was your summer? If it's summer with you. Yeah, ours have seemed quite long, I suppose. My daughter finished school last year early for exam leave, except for they didn't have the exams in the exam leave, they just had the leave. The official examinations were cancelled because of COVID, so they they had mocks and assessments and so on that added up, and they formulated the grade based on those. But yeah, so she had all the leave but she didn't have the sort of the pressure and the the experience of the actual exams. So yeah, it feels like we've had a long time of kind of summer holiday conditions, like months and months worth of them in actual fact. So yeah, that was quite nice, but it's also quite nice to try and get back to, well, it feels like a normal routine at the minute. I've had 2 whole days of like my old life back. It won't last, but but yeah, well, I guess we'll see how we fare through autumn and winter. But yeah, it's been quite strange to kind of return to that after all this time, but we'll see. We'll see how it holds out. But anyway, I hope you've been doing well since my last podcast. I know it's been about a month, I guess, since I last podcasted. And right on cue, I notice I come up here, I start getting a few bits ready, and then I press the record button, and now there's some person banging. I mean, they must have literally been standing with the binoculars watching, and then the second I press that button they're like, go! Yeah, I've shut the door so hopefully you can't really hear it, but typical. But let's get into things. So first thing I'm going to show you is this. I've got mostly finishes to show. So if it's not banging, it's the dog. If it's not the dog, it's banging. Oh, and a plane going overhead as well. We've got a trifecta. Right, he's gone down the garden a bit now, so I'm just going to pretend he doesn't exist. Yeah, so I'm going to show you this. I've got mostly finished items to show you because since we last spoke, I think when we last spoke I had quite a few things on the go, so I've just been focusing on finishing things up because everything felt like it was sitting around for a while. So this was in progress when we last spoke. So it's my Aimée Cardigan, which is a pattern by Hokey Locatelli, I think. Gosh, it's so long since I talked about this I can't even remember anything. And it's got 5 colours to it. So we've got this pink. All the yarn colours will be listed in show notes. So this was a Stella and Plank. This was I could see that the Travel Knitter, there we go, Crafting in Treats, Fawn and the Fox, Travel Knitter again, but the yarn names I'll have to refer you to show notes because I can't remember. I'll put in a little bit of footage so you can see what's going, you know, so you can see it better. Yes, so what do I have to say about this? Nothing other than I'm absolutely thrilled with it. Yeah, it's kind of oversized anyway, but I'm so happy with the fit of it. I think I actually managed to get it right this time. It fits really nicely. I added a little bit more length to both the body and the sleeves because I'm slightly taller than sort of the average allows for. And yeah, so I tend to find sleeves and sort of body lengths can be a little bit short for me. So I think I knit the pink section before I really thought about it, and then once I put the grey on I thought, oh, hang on a minute, if I need more length I'm going to have to plan that in and add a little more to each colour. So I did sort of plan and added a few more rows to each block of colour to make sure that I would have that extra sort of length at the end. Yeah, but I'm just really happy with it. I think the pattern did what's the word, instruct you to do buttonholes. So when I was knitting the band I literally forgot. I think I wasn't happy with it, so I had to start it. I don't know if I restarted it a couple of times or just once. But anyway, when I restarted it, I sort of kept going a bit and I was like, okay, that's better now, I'm happy with that, I'll carry on. And then I sort of got too far. I got past the first buttonhole and I'd forgotten to put it in, and I thought, well, shall I go back? And I thought, no, it's fine, I'll keep going and I'll just put them in on the other side. I know they'll be the wrong way round. But never mind, it doesn't matter. I don't plan on buttoning it up that much anyway. And of course, as could be very easily predicted, I just merrily carried on and finished the entire button band without thinking about the buttonholes again and cast it off. And I thought, well, do you know what? I don't think I'm going to use the buttons anyway, so I just won't worry about it. So yeah, I'm quite happy it sort of will just, you know, hang down, and I don't think I'm going to miss the buttons at all, really. Yeah, so it's a really lovely pattern. I really love that I used 5 different skeins to make it, 5 single skeins. So I love it for that. It's just really, I don't know, it's just really useful for that. But it's just a really nice kind of basic cardigan pattern. You know, I would make this again in just like one colour, because it's just going to be such a really easy, usable thing to wear, I think. I mean, in my colours, perhaps, you know, it won't go with so many things if I had just done it with one plain colour. But I just really like the colours, and it's so nice to sort of get through each stage, you know, because it's quite plain. And like I say, it's reasonably oversized, so there's a reasonable amount of stitches on the needles. It kind of helps you to have those little different colour sort of changes as a little milestone to feel like, oh yes, I am making progress. So I kind of worked my sleeves kind of at the same time as I worked the body. So I think I worked the pink and the grey of the body. I might have just got to this sort of greeny colour, and then I started sort of doing the pink and the grey of the sleeve. So each time I kind of finished the body colour block, I then sort of worked the sleeve, the same block of colour on the sleeve, because I just didn't want to leave all the sleeves to the end. I mean, I'm not sort of, you know, too worried about, oh, I won't finish them or anything, but it can just sort of, it can be quite a lot of knitting. Like, you knit the body and you feel like, oh, I'm almost there now, and then when you come to knit your sleeves, you're like, actually I'm really not. There's a lot of knitting in these sleeves. So I thought I'd sort of do it that way. So yeah, that felt like quite a nice way to do it, and it was quite satisfying to sort of just have the last sort of bit to finish when I got to the end. And again, the button band, this is all applied afterwards, the button band, and you have to pick up, is it pick up or pick up and knit? I can't remember, but like 1,000,000 stitches all the way around this edge to start. So I thought that would be horrendous. But actually I whizzed through it in no time, the button band. I mean, it is only small, so I guess it makes sense, but you kind of have to knit the button band and then sort of join it to all the stitches you've got that you've picked up sort of as you go along, like every time you go back. So every time you knit back to this edge, you have to sort of join it with a stitch, then you knit away again. And so I thought, oh my goodness, it's going to take forever to go around these 1,000,000 stitches, but it was quick. It was nice and quick. So yeah, really, really pleased with that, really happy with that. Yes, would highly recommend. The yarns were all gorgeous. I think my favourite to work with has to be this Crafty Treats one. Just the colour is absolutely gorgeous. It's just got that little bit of colour variation going on, but it's so soft. But yeah, I'll put the details, like I say, in show notes. They were all gorgeous yarns. I think this one and this one had a little bit of either silk or some sort of softer content, because they're a little bit more sort of fluffy and soft. This one's a little bit more of a sock yarn, I think, with nylon. Same with this. So I've got a little bit of different, slightly different fibre content going into it, so you know, it's a little bit different feel, but yeah, I'm just really happy with it. So let's move on. Let's go for, what should we do next? Let's do Spice of Life, because I've got a few blankety things to talk about. So this is actually a work in progress still rather than a finished object, so I'm kind of jumping around a bit. So I've been recolouring my original Spice of Life blanket from way back when, to celebrate these new coloured yarn packs we've got going on. You can go back and watch all the gumph about it if you want to know more than that. But I'm just doing a new colour order, so I'm changing the original pattern, the colour order in the original pattern. But I've got all of my stripes in now. So this was the very beginning. I think at the podcast, I'm not quite sure where we were, maybe around the halfway-ish mark. So I've published the next sections on the blog. So even though I wasn't podcasting, I still kept that up on the blog, so they were still coming out. So I've been working through the other rows. Love this section. Yeah, all the way along, and I got the last section up, and I got all the way to the end rows. So the actual body of the blanket is now complete, and now I've just got the border to go. So yeah, so really excited for the finish of that. I kind of been hanging on a little bit just to sort of show you, because I haven't got the last border part. Well, I say I haven't got it ready to go, it's just the border, there's not a lot to say. But I wanted to sort of make sure I worked it so I could show you it in the photos before I put that last part up. So I shall crack on with that now. But yeah, I've really enjoyed sort of revisiting that, and it's been really fun playing with the colours again. And it's just this yarn. It's the Stylecraft Bambino and Bellissima. It's two different yarn names, but it's exactly the same yarn. The Bambino is like the baby market. It's aimed at a more baby market and slightly more subtle colours. And the Bellissima is aimed at sort of the rest of the market, so there's like so for slightly stronger colours, but I mean there's a lot of overlap in sort of the colour palette, but as I say, the yarn is exactly the same yarn. It's literally just different colours in each of the ranges. So I've combined them both to make this lovely colour pack, which is available at Black Sheep Wools. My lovely friends at Black Sheep Wools are still selling those, so that's nice. So yeah, it's a really nice to work with. It's got a nice sort of weight to it. So yeah, I've really enjoyed that. So there's that one, and while we're in blanket mode, I've got another finished object. So this is a bit of a stash buster. Let's hold it up for you. Try and fit it all in. There we go, it's just about in, isn't it? So this is my bobbing along blanket pattern, but I wanted to use up some of these gorgeous yarns, so I've made it in completely different colours. The original was in 3 colours maybe? Yeah, so I've used 8 plus the white in this one. And I've got a kind of repeating stripe thing going on, so I've used 8 colours. I've got a random arrangement of them, then I rearranged them in another random order and worked through all 8 again, and then I just repeated those 16 rows all throughout the blanket. So it's fingering yarn, fingering weight yarn, but I held it double. So the original pattern is for an Aran weight yarn, so holding it double seemed to work out quite nicely. Yeah, I could have made it, it's kind of quite square. I could have made it a bit longer, I think. My original plan, so my 16 rows that I sort of repeated, my plan was to do those 3 times, so 3 lots of the 16 rows. But then once I'd done it 2.5 times, I thought, oh, that's fine actually, that's plenty long enough, I'm going to stop now. So I put the border on, but then when I was blocking it, I was like, actually it is quite square, I could have put those last 8 rows on. So yeah, I kind of regret that slightly, but then on the other hand it is a really nice baby blanket size, so if anyone in the family decides to have another baby, then I'm kind of ready to go. Although I don't necessarily want to use sort of hand-dyed yarns in a baby blanket. That might not be the best thing for the poor new mother to have to cope with. So yeah, I didn't really think that project through from that point of view, did I? It might be right for the right person if they sort of wanted it for, you know, they didn't mind sort of being a little bit careful how they washed it, kind of thing. I think it's all probably superwash. I'd have to check the labels, but I think you could still put it in the machine and everything. It's just, you don't want to just shove it in on, you know, with everything else necessarily. But yeah, I'm really happy with how it turned out. I was planning to make a bit of a wider border and use some of the colours in to sort of mimic this, the thin white and then the fatter colourful section. I was going to do maybe 3 colours, but when I got to the border I was a bit uncertain of which colours to do, and then I thought it might be a bit much actually, so I just stuck with really simple, a really simple sort of edge, which is in, this is exactly as it is in the pattern. I was planning to sort of change it slightly, adapt it slightly from the pattern to sort of bring the colours into the edge. But yeah, in the end I just did it all one colour. In the pattern it's 3 colours, but I just decided to do it all white, and I think that was quite a good decision. I think that works quite well. So yeah, I'm happy with that. I really love how the colours all work together. It's really pretty. The only thing is, for a stash busting blanket, I didn't actually bust that much stash. There's quite a lot of each of my 8 colours left, which is another reason why I should have done another row in each of them. Yeah, so that's a little bit disappointing in a way, but on the other hand, I really like these colours, so it'd be quite nice if I could maybe use them for something else. But yeah, I think I'll leave that for a while before I dive back into another project with them. But yeah. All the yarns for that are going to be on show notes as well, by the way. I have listed them. I have spoken about them all before, so I won't go over them again here. What else have I got to talk about? Oh, I forgot to bring something up. I'll have to run and get it in a second. So I've got another work in progress. So this is a sewing thing. I've been working on a flower garden quilt. And the last time we spoke, I'd completed April. Bearing in mind my last podcast was July. I think I'd started, excuse you, I think I'd started May. And literally just sort of the very centre I'd started. And I'm doing this with my sister. We're sort of doing it as a kind of a sew along together. And it's a kit, so you get a box each month that gives you some hexagons to sew together, and then at the end you can sew together to make a quilt. Yeah, so she was using the summer holidays to kind of catch up, so she was in the same place. She'd done April, which she hadn't even opened her May. So the summer holidays came, and she's a teacher, you see, and then she started working on it, and then she started really powering through her boxes, and I'm like, oh my goodness, you know, I'm so behind now. I thought that's fine, and you know, I knew I wanted to finish this cardigan before I even looked at it, and I wanted to make sure I kept my spice of life going so I could keep the updates going onto the blog. So I left it for quite a while, but then anyway, at some point I returned back to it, and I've got quite a few. I'm quite up to date now. So I finished May. I think I started this again in April, by the way. No, sorry, August, by the way. So I've actually done loads. There's an Instagram on the 23rd of August where I was saying I'd just finished May and started the next box. So this was a May hexagon. And this one. So May was relatively easy because that was just 2. I think I'm remembering right. If anyone else is doing this box thing and I'm saying it wrong, then oops, I've forgotten what's what. So anyway, after I did that, I moved on to June. So this is one of the June ones. I really like that one. That one's very pretty. And this one is June. And we've got a little half hexine. I think this was June as well. So there's that one. Then I moved on to July. So this one is July. And this one. So this is all using Liberty fabrics. And it's by Alice Caroline. It's not available anymore, this particular one, but she does have other lovely kits and things, and the range of Liberty fabrics she's got on her website is amazing. And this one, also July, I love this one. This is one of my favourites, really like that. And I liked how easy it was to put together because they're nice big hexagons, so it's a little one of the quicker ones. And then August. So I've got this one. And we had another half, and this one, which I just finished last night. So there we go. So this is all the hexagons that I completed in August. I'm amazed how many I managed to do. Like I say, I was totally inspired and spurred on by my sister as she started to get through hers. And she said, well, once you get going, you get into the flow of it. It actually goes quite quickly. And I thought, oh, I don't know, I've been very slow up to now. It's been taking me ages to get them together. But actually, yeah, I could definitely tell I was getting these together a lot quicker. And I think the thing that's made the difference, there's been a few things. So one is I got a different finger. I'd say it's not really a thimble, it's a finger protector really. So it's a sort of leather band that I can put around my finger, and so I can still use my fingers to control the needle, but that kind of protects my finger from the end of the needle, and that's just so much more comfortable, so much more natural to use. That's made a huge difference. Then I got a proper light. This was another tip from my sister. She said, I can see it fine, but just if I've got like a sort of proper light over, you know, one of those ones that you can kind of fold over in position so it's above me. She said, it just makes it so much easier. So I thought, oh, I'll try that. So I had a lamp up here actually that was in the corner that I wasn't using. So I've brought that down so I can kind of angle it over me as I sit and work. Again, just makes it so much easier. And then the last thing is just how I sew them together. So to start with, I was kind of literally, I would take the centre and then I would sew this on and this one on, you know, sew all these triangles on. Then I would add these, like I might put these two triangles together and then I would sew them into place. Then I would sew these ones. So instead of doing it in quite that way, now I sort of sew bits up into batches. So to kind of work along as many straight lines as possible. So this hexagon I would sew all the way round, so I'd sew all the triangles on, but I'd sew this one and then literally like not break the yarn and carry on. Like I might not, just to secure it a bit more, but carry on so I'm not re-threading, and sew all of those on. And then I would put kind of these white triangles I would sew to this diamond, so I could sew up that side, and that would be another segment. So I would get all those ready, and then I would get these onto this. So this is the bit where you haven't got any straight line at all. So these points, you know, like this I can fold down and fold that easily, but when you come to fold here, that hexagon doesn't want to fold. So that's the most sort of awkward point. So I would sew this one on first, and then I would just go and sew all these in. So then I would have that patch ready. And then once I had these sort of segments, I could get all the triangles onto this bit, and I would have these funny shaped bits like this. So I'd have 6 of them. But I can sew down that line in one go nice and easily. And then once I have these segments, I can just start attaching them to the middle. So I attach there, and then, you know, so I've got just sewn there, but then I could put the next one in and sew there, and then the next one in and sew. So you can sort of sew all down like a lot of seams in one go, and that sort of more modular segmented way of sewing it together seems to make such a difference. It really felt like they were coming together quicker. So yeah, that's kind of you know, I was going to say not invigorated me, because I've been enjoying the project, but it makes it feel a bit more achievable, although it's still a heck of a lot of work. But this is how we're getting on so far. So these ones are the ones we've done so far. That takes us up to the end of August. So we've still got 2 whole rows of the bottom to do. And I guess we're getting these little sort of filling in hexagons as well. So we've got those to do. There's quite a lot to do. And then you've got to sew it together. And then you've actually got to make a quilt. So yeah. It's a lot of hand sewing, isn't it? But I've always wanted to make a sort of hand sewn paper piece quilt. I just never ever thought I'd be able to achieve it. So this is quite a good way of doing it. Sort of with the monthly breakdown, it kind of just makes it manageable. So yeah, enjoying that. But so I'm up to date, which I didn't think is where I would be, but a new box will be coming kind of, I guess next week it will probably come. So yeah, I'm feeling like I kind of need a little bit of a break now, but at the same time, now I'm up to date, I want to see if I can kind of keep up. Keep on top of it, because that would be quite nice. But we'll see how it goes. So patterns in progress, there's not a lot to say about this, but I'll just briefly touch on it. which is this one. We chose something I've mentioned a lot, but you still don't see the pattern, do you? So this is my, or it will be, my Painted Anemones blanket is the word. So this hasn't progressed at all since we last spoke. I've kind of focused on finishing up everything I had, and this is going to kind of be my reward, if you like, now for getting everything done. I can just sort of work my way through these lovely flowers, so I'm really looking forward to making progress with that now. And the pattern, I think, is pretty much ready to go now. Yeah, my only issue is Etsy. So what I've always done with patterns, I mean, it's been tested, I've had it tech edited, I've had it tested, I've actually, you know, I've gone through it myself numerous times, but because of the way this year's gone, it's been quite a disjointed and long drawn out process. So it's been like I would make a chunk of progress and then nothing would happen, and then I'd come back to it and feel like everything had fallen out of my head and I'd sort of lost my place with it. So then I'd have to sort of get myself into it again. So it's felt a little bit, it's been a bit disconcerting really. I haven't felt like I've got a proper grip on it and really in control of it and knowing that it's okay, even though I've checked everything a bazillion times. But that's what I keep doing. I keep thinking, oh my god, I don't know anything about it, I don't know if it's right, I'll check it again, and then I start to feel a bit better and then something happens and I can't get to it. So that's how it's gone on. But I've found out since I last released the pattern that on Etsy, once you... Oh, there's a little pussycat going past the window. Once you've bought the pattern from me, that's it. You've got that copy of the pattern and that's it. That's the transaction is over as far as Etsy's concerned, apparently, according to their support page. So that's fine. But what I'm a little bit more used to is how I've worked for a lot of years with Ravelry, where you buy the pattern and that's fine and that's yours and the transaction's over. But if I issue an update to that pattern, if I correct something in it or change it, you can still access that new file. You can go, oh, I'll go into my library and update it. Hooray, I've got the new file with the corrections in or whatever. So I've always been sort of the mindset that if there's any last little sort of, you know, there's always something that slips through the net basically. No matter how many times it gets checked, there's almost always something that someone goes, oh, you forgot a full stop here, or, you know, isn't this supposed to be a T treble? You've put a TD instead of a TR, or whatever it is. You know, there's always some little thing. And occasionally there's something, you know, a little bit more than that. Less so since the testing and the tech editing, so that's your kind of backup plan. But you know, it does happen sometimes. I had a problem with yardage one time, I seem to remember, and that had gone through all the processes and it had not been picked up by me or anyone else. I'm being long-winded now, I'll wrap it up. The point being is, with Ravelry, I've always had that backup that I could correct it and just say, it's okay, I've fixed it, here you go, get the downloaded pattern. And you could always get the most current, most correct version. But with Etsy, you can't do that. If I do a pattern and it's got some mistake in it, you can't ever get the update. Or, well, unless I literally, you know, got all the email addresses and sent them all out. But I'm going to be honest, that just is not realistic at all. Yeah, so that's kind of concerned me a little bit. The last thing I want to do is put it up on Etsy and then someone sort of finds something on there with the pattern and then I can't sort of get it to you, the corrected version to you, without it being like this huge issue. So you know, I don't want to do that. It doesn't make me feel very comfortable, just in case there's something. Maybe I worry too much about these things, but you know, I just don't like it. I don't want to be in that position where I'm like, oh no, I want to get the correction to you and it's going to take me, you know, weeks and weeks and people are not happy in the meantime. And the other problem with Etsy is because I sell digital downloads and Etsy's geared up for sort of handmade goods. They do digital downloads and they host it, but they're not really geared up for it. So the Etsy app, for example, won't let you download your pattern. So you can go use the Etsy app, find my page, buy the pattern, and then go, right, I'd like the pattern now. And the Etsy app will just go, nah, mistake, don't know what you're talking about. And then the people obviously thinking, oh, hang on a minute, I've paid money for this and I'm not going to get this pattern, what's going on? And I get some lovely message, but I also get quite a lot of frustrated, annoyed messages from people going, where's my pattern, get it to me, I've paid for it. But it's like, that's Etsy, that's not me. It's an automated system, they are supposed to deliver it to you. I can't control their systems, and I can't control the fact they didn't bother to include that in their Etsy app. I mean, why would they not include that? I don't understand it, but anyway, they don't include it, so you have to come out of the Etsy app, navigate to the website, go into your accounts and download it that way, which is, you know, and it works. And if you're on a desktop, you've probably gone to the Etsy site anyway, so that's fine, or you get the email and you click the link and that's fine. But if you're on a mobile, as so many people are now, or on your tablet, you know, you're not necessarily going to be able to click that email link and it'll go automatically to it. It'll probably go to the Etsy app and then you can't download it. And it doesn't even come up with a, oh, sorry, you can't download it on the app, you'll have to go to the website. No, it just says, oh, something's gone wrong, and doesn't even tell you. So it's so useless. But I get so much messages that I have to sort of go, oh, it's the, you know, and explain what to do, that I'm a little bit wary of putting any more patterns on there, to be honest, because it just becomes a big administrative task just to deal with all those queries. Because, like I say, some people ask sort of, oh, I seem to be having a problem, could you help? And of course, happy to help. That's one thing, but a lot of people are quite frustrated and annoyed, and you know, they want an answer quick, otherwise they're like, you know, sending up complaints to Etsy about what, this person's not giving me my pattern. It's like, the system's supposed to give you the pattern. So yeah, so on that basis, I'm a little wary. Certainly I've put it on Etsy in the first instance, so I think I'll launch it on Ravelry, just to give myself a bit of time, just to reassure myself that it's going to be okay. And also I'll put it on Lovecrafts, because I can update there in the same way. So you've got a choice of places to buy from, and then if that goes okay, then I think I'll put it on Etsy afterwards. And I'll just have to sort of deal with the you know, the getting hold of the pattern issue once it's on there, maybe. But I'll see how it goes in the first instance. So that was just what I wanted to tell you about that, so that it is coming, and I'm really looking forward to working on it now and making progress on it. But it will just be on Ravelry and Lovecrafts for the first sort of, I don't know, maybe a couple of months or so, and then we'll see about getting it onto Etsy at the next stage. So that's all there is to say about that one. And then I have got an incoming goodie to show you, but I'm just going to need to run and get that, so I'll be back in a second. There, I'm back. Literally was just a second, wasn't it? So yeah, I've brought some yarn, which is quite surprising because I haven't brought any for ages. Well, not indie dyed yarn. I've brought a couple of commercial yarns to sort of finish up projects and things, and the sort of colours for this. But I haven't brought any indie dyed yarn for months and months and months. This whole festivals being closed thing is kind of working out for me in the spending money and enlarging stash department. But Biff Sugar Yarns happened to go on Instagram, and she happened to say I'm having a sale, and I happened to think, well, I'll just have a look. And I found these on there. Aren't they gorgeous? Oh, so rich, looking so beautiful on the camera as well. So this is, what is it called? Florence. So it's a DK yarn, double knit yarn. It's a superwash merino nylon, 100 grams, 225 meters. Yeah. So my plan, I think I might actually break into this pretty much immediately. So my plan is to make a slightly modified version of oh, I can't remember the name of it now. Little Tailoress, lovely Amy. Her jumper that's also a cardigan. I bet you know the name of it and you're saying to your screens now. Whatever it is. Oh, what's it called? It's got that gorgeous lace detailing. Whitmore. There we are. It came to me. Thank the Lord. Yes, her Whitmore. Yes, so I'd had my eye on the Whitmore sweater for the longest time. I know so many people have made it and I was really looking forward to making it. And then she brought out the Whitmore cardigan and I was a bit, ooh, which do I make now? Do I go for the sweater or do I go for the cardigan? I'm not sure. But, you know, I definitely wanted to make one of them anyway. And then I saw Claire from Bird Street Yarns was wearing a Whitmore sweater, but it was slightly modified and it had like short sleeve and it was a little bit more cropped. But you've still got that gorgeous lace pattern on the yoke. And I thought, yes, that, I really want to make that. And I might make like the regular version as well because I like both. But I think because I had this on the go and it was quite, you know, it was taking quite a while because it's fingering weight and it's quite long and quite wide. I sort of like the idea of something a bit quicker, the double knit yarn, because I think in the pattern Amy holds a fingering weight and a mohair. So I'm hoping, well, I'm assuming the double knit will work out all right because that's what Claire's version was made out of. So yeah, I just thought I really fancy that. And also I think I can be a little bit funny with jumpers. There's some I like and I will wear, but there's not that many. And I just thought that cropped version, I can just really see me wearing a lot though. And although we're sort of starting to come out of the time when that could be useful, I'm hoping we sort of get a nice mellow drop into winter. A nice mellow autumn so I can actually kind of wear it because I'll be able to layer it and things. Yeah, before it gets too cold, because sometimes it can just be like end of summer and then the temperatures plummet so quickly, it feels so cold you can't kind of wear any of that nice transitional clothing. But I'm hoping that this year will allow for it, so I'm just going to dive straight in and make it now because these autumnal colours are gorgeous and I'm quite excited by that project idea. So yeah, that's my incoming goodies with a plan. Who even am I? What's going on? So I think that'll probably be it for me. The camera was overheating a minute ago, so I had to turn it off and have a little rest. So I'll probably better leave it there. Yeah, I've got some vloggy footage. I don't know if it will go onto here or whether I would have put it on the front, or it might be enough for a separate video. I don't know. But either stay tuned or hopefully we'll be able to enjoy that another time. But yeah, that's probably it from me then. I hope you've had a lovely time and I hope you get to enjoy some nice peaceful crafting moments. Until we speak again. Okay, see you next time. Bye.